Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at Geomatics and a great opportunity to share with you a story. A story about a journey which we are all part of, a journey about mixed reality and digital transformation. Our digital universe began not so long ago, actually about one human lifetime ago. It started like digital primordial soup, kind of a chaotic environment. We had a few people working like puppeteers at a far distance from the digital world, kind of manipulating bits and switches to make the work done. Quite soon afterward, we start to use abstractions. We start to add agents to manipulate and handle large data. Operating systems, for example, compilers. It was the age of big machines in data centers. And then the desktop revolution arrived, and suddenly we had the computing power on our table. We got closer to the digital world. We actually started to develop identity, personal identity, as individuals, as communities, societies. This was great. We had the computing power at our hand. Shortly after, the internet. And it was not anymore an isolated environment, it was a network. We continued to develop our digital identity, digital content, 3D content, visualization, and we share this content with everyone. It's actually helped us form a new business model. And then the mobile revolution, which are here with us today. And suddenly the data was with us all the time, going with us everywhere. We became addicted to this ping sound, something new is coming, some critical information. In fact, I'm sure that even now, some of you in the crowd are looking at their phones, maybe something important will come. And this is great, and our business today is actually heavily relied on those three technologies, the PCs, the internet, and mobile. But if you look back, the way that we consume and interact with the data remains the same for the last 60 years. Our content was developed dramatically. We have very rich content, digital content. We spent a lot of time, most of our time, in front of the computers, but we still consume this content behind 2D screens. We still interact with the data, even with 3D data, behind 2D screens. And we separate our world into two groups, the digital world and the physical world, although they're highly related to each other, kind of a split personality. So there is a new technology wave. There is a way to change this. There is a way to bring the digital content out of those 2D screens into the physical world, to merge the two environments together. It will help us communicate. It will help us make decisions. It will actually change the way we consume, interact, and communicate data. Trimble is not the only company with this vision. As you can see here on the screen, some of the most innovative organizations around the world, commercial companies, research institutes, are actually investing a lot of effort to find a way to push this technology into the market, understanding that this is a new way for us to live with digital content. So before we dive into what is mixed reality, I would like to talk a bit about the mixed reality continuum, about three acronyms which are overlapping in a way: VR, AR, and MR. So with VR technology, we're actually still in the digital world. We're replacing our physical environment with a digital one. We put a device on our head, we block ourselves from the environment, and we are fully immersed, fully isolated from anything else. We are into this digital environment that someone is creating. That's great. It's great for gaming, very useful for some use cases like training. But once I need the interaction with other people, once I need to understand the relation between what I see and the environment, I'm limited. And this is where augmented reality, or AR, can help. With augmented reality, we typically bring a video feed of the environment and add layers of information on top of it, which help me understand the environment and the relation between my content, design content, for example, or surveying content, and the environment. But still, this is a layered structure. Still, there is a separation between the digital and the physical. And then, mixed reality. And here we actually take the content, the digital content, and project it into the digital world. We actually merge the two environments together to an extent that at some point in time in the future, it will be difficult to us to understand what is real, what is digital. Physical object can hide digital object can hide physical object. It's a great tool to understand the relations between those two environments, something which is critical when you're dealing with spatial data. So for VR, you are probably familiar, tools like Oculus from Facebook or HTC Vive. For augmented reality, we can talk about the Google Tango technology. And for mixed reality, devices like Microsoft HoloLens and Dakri smart helmet. Those devices are going to change the way we work with data. So where is the technology today? How mature is the technology? Can we start using it? The answer is yes, but maybe we should go back a bit and figure out why we believe so. One of the best ways to understand where a technology is to kind of compare the progress of this technology along this graph, the Gartner technology hype, and to figure out where it is. It will help us make a decision if to join and to start using it, or maybe to wait. It depends on our preference. This graph follows a typical life cycle of a technology, starting with an innovation trigger, some breakthrough which allows to do something new, and then this peak of inflated expectations. This is not about technology, this is about psychology. It's our kind of mental model, our tendency to believe that the next thing is better. The next thing will be great, the next thing will solve all our problems, just to realize this is not the case, and this is where the graph goes down, and we are depressed because this is not the case anymore. But once we realize what this technology can do for us, we can start to be productive. We can start to get some benefits out of this technology. So this is a typical life cycle. Now let's see where mixed reality is, and I actually would like to take you a bit to the left of this graph. 20 years ago.
A collection of New Zealand's weird and wonderful inventions is being showcased at an international event in Christchurch.
Oakley might look a little out of place. That's because he's entering a whole new world. It uses software that's been co-developed by companies HitLab and Trimble. This system's still in its development stages. They want to make it lighter, smaller, and cheaper. But
so New Zealand, 1998, 20 years ago. Certainly the technology was not ready for the prime market. This GPS antenna on top of the hard hat and a video device stuck to your face was not the best product to sell. But the vision about the benefits of this technology and about the ability to project digital content in the right location, in the right space, and to communicate this with others was already there. And since then, the technology progressed. The form factor became much better, the computing power, the display. And we are now at a point where we can start to do real things with this. We can start to really reap the benefits of the investment and use this technology to improve our professional life and also our personal life. So what can be done with it? What is the most kind of valuable thing we can do with the technology? Pokemon Go. Well, it's a game. but 650 million people are not doing a mistake here. There is something real with this technology. And now how we can take this stuff, this, in a way, silly game, and bring it into our professional life, into the geomatic industry, into surveying. What can be done? In fact, if you will think about it, the ingredients that are being used in Pokemon Go are the same that you guys are dealing with every day. It's about location, a place to present content, about understanding the location. It's about assets. It's about people. So if we can take those three and apply mixed reality with our knowledge, we can get something meaningful. Now, with mixed reality, we can actually play with those three ingredients. We can have each one of them as digital or physical and combine them together. For example, imagine a technician in a boiler room. He would like to figure out if a specific new asset will have enough space in the boiler room, and he just places a digital asset in a physical room. And he might want to call a remote expert and bring him digitally as an avatar to visualize this with him. So we're dealing with a physical space, digital asset, digital presentation of a person. Or now imagine a faraway place where we have the information, we capture the information already spatially, and now we would like to experience it. So we bring this site digitally into our environment and explore it as if we are there. So we can really play with a mix and get the benefits out of mixed reality. Some kind of trivial examples, we can actually visualize geographic data, GIS data, like transit systems, underground transit system, or water utilities, subsurface utilities, or traffic, using devices which will allow us to visualize this stuff in context. This is not a dream. This is something that can be done today. We have the data, we have the location, we have the tool to bring the two together using mixed reality. There is one more important thing about this technology. It's about synergy, which makes the technology even more powerful for us. I will not go through the full list here, but let's talk about IoT, for example, Internet of Things. In 2020, more assets, more objects will be connected to the internet than people. Assets will communicate with each other, with data centers, with control rooms, but we as people are walking there and we are not aware to all this information exchange that is going on. We can be sitting beside a machine and we don't know what's going on with this machine. But imagine that you will have some kind of a device, a mixed reality device, which can make this intangible data tangible. I can look at the engine and see, oh wow, this engine needs maintenance because I see the flow of information. I can see the data actually presented to me in context. It's a great synergy between two emerging technologies. And same with modeling. You're investing so much in creating 3D models of terrains, BIM models, building information model. But you still consume those models on 2D screens instead of taking them out of the screens and visualizing them like they are physical objects, experiencing them, not just sharing the information, but actually experiencing what you did, experiencing the design, and making decisions based on what you experience. So a lot of synergy between mixed reality and emerging technologies. Let's take an example. Remember the slide with the 3 assets, 3 ingredients: location, asset, and people. And here NASA did use this technology to improve the ways they explore Mars, a remote location, a location we cannot be in. But we do have satellite information, we have images, we have actually all the terrain available for us, and we can explore it using mixed reality. We can bring this faraway place into our office room and visualize it as if we are there. We can invite guests to join us in this journey, And they will be presented in this same space so we can communicate and make decisions. So again, I'm sitting at my desk, but when I want to see something close, I'm just doing a few steps and walking around this stone, this geological object in Mars, to better understand what it is. That's a fantastic way to work, a fantastic way to make decisions and to understand and communicate information. But this is far away. It's tough to do business on Mars. So let's go down to Earth and look at another example where we combine and do some synergy between different technologies. And this is about the mining industry. It's a very complex industry, as you probably know. But if we can take this stream of data, the geometry of the mine coming from scanners, drones, satellites, the position of machines and assets in the mine coming from IoT, the health of those machines, the location of materials, where they were taken from and where they are stored today. If we can take all this and combine it into one visual experience using mixed reality, this is something highly beneficial. So let's see what the engineers can do. They can bring the mine into their office. They can do it in a kind of co-located collaboration setting. They can actually visualize assets, select them, and see IoT-like information about the specific machine, how many hours the engine is working, who is a driver. We can actually jump into the mine in a one-to-one scale and visualize the asset inside the mine. We can track in real time the location of the machines, understand this rainbow of materials, where they were taken from and where they are stored. It's a great way for mining engineers to actually make decisions, communicate them, and understand the impact of those decisions on the mine without being there. So this is the mining industry. What are the benefits? There are many, but maybe what is the main benefit? And this relates to a very sad story. When my kids ask me about the color of my hair, my immediate answer is black. And as you can see, this is not the case anymore. But this is a mental model that I have. And there is a gap between the mental model and the reality. Now, this is certainly an easy use case to solve, and a good mirror will help. But now I would like you to think about a mine, or a hospital, or a complex engineering project, where you have hundreds, if not thousands, of stakeholders on site, each one of them with a slightly different mental model about the tasks that he needs to perform, slightly different from the one standing beside him, slightly different from the engineer or the owner. This is already a catastrophe. And with mixed reality, we can help bridge this gap by presenting the content in the context of the environment, by allowing everyone to share the same kind of common truth. So bridging gap is a critical and highly beneficial thing when using mixed reality. Let's see some examples from the building industry. With building industry, we can actually support the full life cycle using mixed reality. The design, or even the pre-design phase, where we need to map the environment, the execution stage, the construction stage, and the facility management. Let's take a look at some of the real use cases, actual customers using the technology. And maybe the first one to begin with is about heavy civil work, earth moving. Instead of using those papers, and we all know that they exist today and they are kind of the basic tool to understand and to translate the design into reality, but instead of using those, which have gaps between mental and physical, we can actually use a different technology. We can combine together a GNSS receiver for very accurate positioning with a technology like Google Tango, and provide the user a way to visualize a design in context, in 3D, as we created it. Provide him a way to make decisions, to measure, to understand the amount of work, not by guessing, not by translating a 2D document into 3D in his head, but by actually visualizing it. Another example from the heavy civil world is this interchange. You can see the bridge. You can see how it will be there when it will be done. You can see how it relates to the existing road. You can communicate this with stakeholders, with the authority, with the community, and of course with the team on site. You can monitor their progress and identify any discrepancies early in the project. So that's a great example for the heavy civil part and how mixed reality can support us in this process. Now let's go to the architectural world. And in this case, I would like to present a work by Greg Lean. He's an architect from California, what we call today a star architect. And Greg was picked to represent the US in the Venice Architecture Biennale, a very prestigious event in the architectural world, like the Oscar of the architectural world. And he was designing a renovation to a project in Detroit, to the Packard plant in Detroit, a very complex structure. And he was using mixed reality to present the design to himself, first of all, to understand the impact of his design decisions, to his team members, and to the community. So let's take a look at what he did. So as a first step, I can visualize this content on a 2D screen. We can see here in SketchUp the design of this new facility. Very complex one. Why to visualize it on 2D if I can actually bring it into the 3D space? Yes, I have a physical table here, and I can put on top of it a digital model and actually explore it like it is a physical one from any angle. But I can do more than just looking at the geometry. I can pick specific assets and see the information about those assets. Or I can measure. As you can see, this project is quite long. Or if I want to visualize details, I can actually enlarge a specific section, something which I cannot do with a physical maquette. And in some cases, I would like to be immersed. I would like actually to feel the experience of being inside this facility, what it means before I build it. So let's just click and get into the environment. And now every step that I will do in the physical world will be actually a step in the digital world. I was presenting together with Greg at the Venice Biennale, where people just come and see architecture. They are not experts. And when they put the device on and they look around, they smile. They suddenly experience what it means to be in such a space. And they start walking around and exploring this design, because this is how they can understand the impact of our design decisions on their lives. So this is architecture. So for architects like Greg, it's about making decisions with confidence. It's about accelerating the design process. It's about better communication with customers. Let's move down the road, and now we are in the construction phase. What we can do with mixed reality during construction. NCC, a customer from Finland, wanted to check how this technology can help him improve the work on site. So you can train your team about the tasks that they need to perform. Interior partition, or maybe MEP work. You can actually track progress by comparing a 4D model with the actual work on site and identify delays. You can identify discrepancies by comparing real to virtual. And the earlier you are doing so, the earlier you identify those discrepancies, the better. And you can even, walking kind of down the road, you can even do the work based on what you see. We are all used to this kind of process where we look at something on Microsoft Word and click print and get exactly the same thing on the printer. What you see is what you get. Why not use the same concept with mixed reality? Why not to project something and actually do the work based on what I see? No need to measure, no need for 2D drawings. Just look at it and do what is required. A bit down the road, but this is going there. The industry is going to change. And this is why for customers like NCC, this tool is a complete transformation. It's about replacing the existing processes to a much more productive, more accurate tool, which will provide better quality, better safety for the workers, and a more accurate solution. And then the last phase of the process of the life cycle of a building is the facility management. And here, context is a king. I would like to visualize the asset, and I would like to understand what is the history of maintenance, what are the part numbers, how do I replace part, maybe connect to a remote expert. And with this technology, I can actually pick a digital tag on an asset and visualize all the information. Remember, we spoke about the IoT stuff. It can be IoT, or it can be already available information that I have in my facility management database, which help me perform the task, improve the quality and safety and the efficiency of the workers. So for companies dealing with facility management, it's really about improving the work and the efficiency and the quality. This is a journey, and we are just at the beginning. The focus today of mixed reality devices and solutions is on the visual part and also on the audio. But there is already other research going on about haptic. Imagine that you will be able to touch those assets, that you will be able to feel what they are. Imagine you will be able to smell them. There is already enough benefit today to start using the technology, but in the future, it will be difficult for us to differentiate between digital and physical. And the only way to understand or to know if an object is digital or physical will be to know it. This is going to be a fascinating journey. Thank you very much.